Phospho and the membrane family.
Hi, my name is Phospho, and I'm a phospholipid in the cell membrane. I have a hydrophilic phospholipid head, which is polar and water-loving, and two hydrophobic fatty acid tails, which are nonpolar and water-hating. This makes me amphipathic, because I have both properties. Let me introduce you to my family. First, meet my sister Cleo.
Hi, I'm Cleo, short for cholesterol. I'm a waxy substance that helps maintain the fluidity and structure of the cell membrane. I fill in the gaps between phospholipid molecules, making the membrane more stable and resistant to disruption.
Hi, my name is Glyca and I'm a glycolipid. I'm a signal between cells and act as surface markers, allowing cells to recognize one another and interact with their environment. I also help with adhesion between cells, promoting the formation of tissues. I play a huge role in membrane stability and I'm attached to phospholipids. Now meet my brother Glyco.
Hello, I'm Glyco, and I'm a super important glycoprotein. I have a hydrocarbon chain covalently bonded to my protein. I help with cell-to-cell recognition and help the immune system recognize foreign pathogens. Now meet the integral twins.
I'm Chanel. I'm a channel protein, and along with being a little lazy, I let molecules, ions, and water enter the cell passively without using ATP or energy.
Hi, I'm Penny, the protein pump. I'm super active because I pump molecules and ions from a low concentration to high concentration into the membrane using ATP.
And last but not least, meet my friends on the edge of the membrane.
Hi, I'm Pablo, the peripheral protein. I don't dive deep into the membrane like the integral proteins. Instead, I hang out on the surface and help with signaling and maintaining the cell's shape. Bye now.
Hey there, I'm Tammy, the transmembrane protein, which is one of the integral proteins, going all the way through the membrane like a bridge. I help with communication, transport, and sometimes even act as a receptor to pass messages inside the cell.
Wow, our membrane is really awesome. Together we make the phospholipid bilayer a strong, flexible, and super busy barrier.
Plus, we're all helping the cell talk to each other, recognize invaders, and stick together when needed.
So that's us, the amazing cell membrane crew. We may be tiny, but without us, cells couldn't survive a day.
Now, Phospho, aren't you forgetting about some really important factories?
Oh yes, first stop at the junction factory. This factory functions to form seals that prevent leakage, providing mechanical strength to resist physical forces. This gives the membrane direct communication for the passage of ions and molecules between cells. For example, the cardiac muscle and the gap junctions allow electric signals to pass rapidly, making sure the heart contracts at once. Now, the enzyme factory. This primary role of enzymes is to speed up chemical reactions in the cell. These reactions include synthesizing specific membrane components like the phospholipids and enact metabolic processes like lactose digestion and generating energy production or ATP synthesis. Enzymes bind to substrates, reducing activation energy, making the reaction easier and faster.
Next is the transport factory, right, Phospho?
Yeah, that's right. Basically, this factory regulates certain mechanisms that control the movement of things going in and out of the cell, which makes it selectively permeable. This is mainly achieved through passive, which does not require energy as it moves molecules or ions from high to low concentration, and active transport, which requires energy as it moves molecules to low to high concentration. For example, osmosis is diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane, like how water moves into the plant root cells from the soil. Now let's move on to cell recognition factory.
Oh, I know this. Glycolipids and glycoproteins act as markers that help with cell signaling.
Exactly, they serve as molecular name tags for the cells to identify and interact with each other. They provide specific binding sites for cells, which are extremely important in processes like the immune system responses against pathogens and more. Now let's move on to the systems that support the factories, starting with anchorage. The anchorage is a mechanism in the cell by which proteins and other molecules are physically secured to the lipid bilayer. They influence cell shape and organize cellular components and position the cell within its environment. Now moving on to the membrane's attachment function, which has various connections such as the anchoring of the intracellular cytoskeleton to the plasma membrane for cell structure and mechanics. And finally, last but not least, the signal transduction. In cell membranes, signal transduction functions to receive external signals, which they then get converted into intracellular response. They then get transmitted to other parts of the cell. This is achieved by transmembrane proteins that act as receptors, binding to signaling molecules. This is clear when insulin signaling leads to glucose uptake.
Wow, that's so cool. Wait, Phospho, did we forget anything else about the cell membrane?
Nope, I think that's everything. That's a wrap. See you guys next time.